Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to a Thursday day live stream. Bitcoin right now, $121,000 per coin. We had a little bit of a pullback, but things still look strong. Things still look sturdy. Everything still looks like it is on track for an explosive at Q4. Today, we're going to talk about robotics, of course. I skipped yesterday's live stream, and that's because I was on a space explaining Masterbot. We'll talk about Masterbot. I am certain of it. I'm going to let everyone roll into the live stream as I kind of run down some of the things I want to talk about today and what's going on in the market. So I pulled up several different things that I'm seeing on X right now about the robotics industry and how it is coming in hot and really taking over a lot of the narrative in the investing world right now. We see creator bid down out pretty bad, but potentially at the bottom of its channel, potentially getting a little bit of a reversal going on here. Who knows? We'll see. I just updated the Masterbot website, so we'll go over that and I'll explain to you guys what is actually going on there and why you're seeing a bunch of people talk about it, of course, and we'll touch on the fact that UiPath, the call options that we bought, I don't know if you guys bought them, but I told you guys I was going in pretty heavy on calls right here. Timing could not have been better on those. I also bought a few back here, and those are also doing exceptionally well. I just closed out of several of them here. Even though they're very long duration, this is a very strong move, which spikes the implied volatility on those calls. So I just went ahead and took that 700% gains on those calls literally right before going live. Good morning, Stare. How's it going, David? What's going on, C90? Welcome in to today's live stream. Things are looking good out there. The market is alive and well right now. Despite the crypto market having a little bit of a pullback and a little bit of bounciness, the actual stock market is doing very well. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this market. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of water already to start the stream off with. Delicious. If we zoom out on Bitcoin, go to the daily chart, you'll see we're not looking like it's going explosive anytime soon, but it does look like it's trying to hold the support here at a pretty valuable mark, right? This is where I had previously drawn the, no, actually it's not. It's right around anything above $120,000 per Bitcoin. I never ended up drawing the line, but anything above $120,000 per coin, I think is still holding this breakout that we're experiencing right now. If we come below, I think we get a longer time of consolidation before we keep skyrocketing, but I do think that anything above 120K is going to keep with that continuation. We are seeing dominance keep going up though. And that's probably going to continue again until we converge in with these moving averages. Hopefully not all the way back up to the 200. Hopefully we get some resistance here at the 100, but the velocity of this looks like it's going to push up here for a little bit. But with that being said, everything is really just consolidating. And the longer this consolidates, the higher of a push we'll get. This trend line here on Solana is continuing to push up, and in the next month or two, it's going to, even if it just stays sideways, it will hit the bottom of this trend line in the next month or two. I don't think it stays sideways, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Good morning, Cockred. Good morning, Guinea. I know you guys have questions for me, so as you guys roll into today's live stream, make sure you hit the thumbs up button on the video and feel free to pop in and ask any questions. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the elephant in the room, which is the robotics industry. I do have to keep an eye on my phone here for this because there is an announcement coming out from Masterbot that I'm supposed to repost as soon as it comes out. So I'm gonna be doing it just on live with you guys. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah. So right now, across the internet, if you're looking for it at all, if you're in investing circles at all, if you're talking about investing in the next narrative in these markets, the next frontier, you're going to have to take a look at robotics, right? We see right here, Boston Dynamics releasing a new video about humanoid robot hands. Quote, grippers are one of the most intricate parts of a humanoid robot. Packed with action, actuation, and sensing, they need to be durable enough to handle tough jobs, but precise enough to handle fragment items. Our engineers share how the Atlas gripper has evolved as our manipulation capabilities expand and the principles that will guide future iterations. Basically, they have in order to mimic tendons in a hand with actual physical hardware, they've not really had success doing that yet in the physical hardware for these humanoid robots, right? I have X up on the other screen. I'll let you know if MasterBot posts. Let's go, David. The tendons in our arms are so much more advanced than what we can make for robots. And so we've been struggling as an industry, robotics has been struggling to get something to mimic it that allows for the precision, but also the strength needed to carry crazy objects. The human body is actually wild, but it seems like companies are getting major breakthroughs here, like with Boston Dynamics posting about how amazing it is. And it's a 5-minute video, so we won't watch the whole thing, but honestly, we probably should watch the whole thing so you guys can get a good idea of it, because it is a challenging task. I want to keep going on it though first before we sit and watch any of the videos. And it seems like today is Robot Day, or all robotics companies want to quickly get ahead. Deep Robotics introduces the first all-weather robot built for the harshest weather conditions. Pretty cool, not gonna lie. It's a huge gold rush to get these robots out into the market. And so we go to the next post here. Amit, one of my favorite investing accounts on X. This post went crazy viral yesterday with Figure posting about how they just launched a new humanoid robot. Billions of humanoids will walk the planet one day, and Figure could help us enter into the new world. This would end up creating an entirely new S-curve and industry for NVIDIA. Grateful to be an investor, and congrats on Figure 3 with this guy. So Amit must have gotten the opportunity to get invested into Figure, which is pretty cool because their video here looks sick. This is such a good marketing video. And it's different from the other robots because it's got clothing on, it seems, so you don't see all the joints and everything, which is pretty intriguing. Let's see if we can get forward. Yeah, see, it just looks a little bit more fancy. And think about it, that's like iPhone 3 material there, or iPhone 1, whatever it was. It's like the bare bones basic. It's only going to get better from there. The robots out there right now are the worst that they've ever been. And that's where MasterBot comes in. Hopefully laying a good foundation for you guys. But that is where MasterBot is to come in and actually help with the industry, is to help create the brains for these robots to run. Now, they're going to have brains. Don't get me wrong. They're going to have brains that you can just use. But if you want an AI, if you want a machine learning AI that's actually yours, right? Something that you can control, having these brains created by MasterBot, the idea is we can provide those. We can be the foundation for people to then continue pick up the torch and keep running with it, pun intended, given the purpose of MasterBot and how we're going about gamifying it. But the purpose is to lay the foundation for these robots to be able to move and just add into the pool of training data out there to get these to market quicker. And that training data, as we know, data is literally the most valuable thing. And so as we continue to create more and more of that data, hopefully we move the needle in a very meaningful manner. Now, my phone's getting blown up, so I'm gonna let you guys listen to, although I haven't actually listened to it yet, and so I don't want to do that because I want to listen to it with you guys. But you guys have to sit here and watch MasterBot chart as I respond to the messages. It looks like it just broke out. It's looking like it found a good floor here. We had that very typical pop, drop, and hopefully a lock here on a short time frame. But we'll see. We will see what ends up happening. I'm not off DeSci. I'm just going where the narrative is. DeSci is there. I have a gross amount of money in DeSci. I'm super bullish on DeSci, and I explained it earlier this week when I came back live streaming from my break. But DeSci is still something that I'm insanely bullish on. It's just that DeSci moves after the market moves, right? DeSci, we've seen it time and time again, and I've explained it time and time again. DeSci is going to get a big move once Bitcoin's above like 135 to 140. You guys ask your questions away. Have you ever seen the Moonshots YouTube videos? Basically a podcast on video. I like that. I love watching and listening to podcast type content. Okay. Okay. Let's showcase the website. How many of you guys have seen the website? Is that host of the X Space yesterday well respected in the Gem Hunters? I don't know the space at all. I just tuned in to him tweaking out. Yeah, I've not ever listened to his stuff before C90. It's funny stare. Close, maybe. Who knows? I've not actually listened to his spaces before, but that is the Gem Hunter community is what's being used to kind of push and prop up Masterbot, obviously. And I guess he's a very prominent figure in it. And I've listened to some of his stuff, and he is very much like Sage. They like pushing things as basically as humanly possible, right? Because honestly, you see it. What's the number one problem with marketing and getting people's attention on decentralized science? We know the tech is good. We know that the narrative is good. We know that the industry is moving forward and making major steps. What is the number one problem within decentralized science? It's too complicated for people. People don't know what to think. People want to be told what to think. People want to know what to pay attention to, and they want it broken down as simply as possible, right? It's not anything that's crazy out of the ordinary. It's not anything that takes that much brain power to think about, right? And so it's the same thing in robotics. We see these robotics companies making crazy good strides. People just don't know anything about it. I'm here explaining the tech to people, and they're just like glazing over in the eyes. I can see it. It's the same exact thing, right? I think robotics has a much bigger total addressable market than decentralized science does, especially in the short term, given so many catalysts and everything that are coming up for it that are going to bring people's attention to it. And I think we're insanely early to it, and I'm hoping that we can make a dent on all of that. And then who knows, hopefully, I see Vibra coming into the live stream right now. Let's go. Hopefully, maybe, potentially one day we could get Bill into a robot and have literally Bill, the DeSci guy, in a physical form, going to conferences and stuff like that, right? Who knows? We'll see, right? There's a long way between now and then, but robotics, machine learning is the next industry that I think is going to make a large impact. Complicated, yes, but you have to be respected in the field to garner the attention, right? Sage isn't it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. They bring a lot of attention. The name of the game right now is grab attention, get attention. And so I think the industry grows dramatically from Masterbot, and I think Sage plays a big role in that. I know that he's going to do it in a way that is very different than how I do it, right? But there's also a very large discrepancy in the amount of attention that Sage garners versus what I garner, you know? And so there's something to be said about that. Anyways, let's get into it. So the next gen robotics training ground, MasterBot, powering the future of AI-driven robotics, training on the blockchain. So here's kind of the idea of it, right? And hopefully this has been clear to people. If any of you guys have read into it, I tried to make it clear on the documents here, the Git book, but the daily training cycle. So every 24 hours, 3 AI strategies will compete to solve a new challenge while the community predicts winners using the bot tokens. Results are published daily, creating a valuable data and compelling content. So there's 3 different AI brains, machine learning brains that are being trained. There's the sprinter, there's the marathoner, and the inventor, right? So you got the high risk, high reward, speed at all costs. Then you have the slow and steady precision brain, and then you have the creative and novel solutions brain, right? The idea is that every 24 hours, there's a game master that creates an obstacle course for these three AIs, for these 3 brains to run through a robot, right? We're starting off with the quadruped because, well, just to be honest, it's the easiest one, but we're starting off with the quadruped from Unitree. And so we've already done it. We're training the brains right now to be able to get to that point. We're just creating the platform and the visualizations so that people can watch it, so that you can see and try and predict which of these brains is going to perform the best on each obstacle course. And there's a game master that randomly creates the obstacle course, incrementally getting harder and harder as these brains learn and get better and better. And then you can bet on it, and you can try and figure out which one is going to perform the best on various different stats, and you use the bot token to do that, right? Does that make sense, you guys? The inventor, that inventor. Let's go, Stare. Let's go. So it's a gamified way to train multiple brains and collect data and help fine tune the robotics industry. I think it's crystal clear. I think it's fun. I've been watching, I'm having a phenomenal time cook on this. I'm having a phenomenal time. Now, I'm also having an extremely frustrating time because this is not super simple, but it's very doable, right? It takes a lot, and it's sometimes I hit my head against the wall quite a bit. Not actually, but figuratively. But it works, and it's really cool to see these things go from just twitching bodies on the ground to stuff that can actually stand up and is starting to move and is actually able to work. It's super fascinating. And the rest of it kind of is going through the market potential, but you guys probably see that. What I want you guys, your opinions matter to me a lot. And so I want to know, what is everyone's take on this, on what's going on here, right? The vision, the goals, everything. What is everyone's take on it so far? You guys have had time to digest it. What is the take? Our roadmap to revolution. Phase 1, the core simulation and MVP showcase. So build the core Unity project, create high quality demo videos, write the white paper, and design the tokenomics to build a polished proof of concept. Then we have launch the fully autonomous platform. The app goes live, the training runs 24/7, and the robot AI begins learning from community interactions. And then phase 3, the prediction market implementation. So let me know. Let me know, guys. I'm gonna take another sip of water. Not sponsored, although it should be. And now, I have to be careful with what I say because I'm not the only person involved, right? So I have to be cautious with it. But as I get permission to continue to share updates and everything, you guys will be some of the first people to know. Feel the website needs to be updated to look more advanced. Looks like GoDaddy style shit. I mean, I like the website, but I hear you. Get some robots behind it. That would be cool, actually. I toss out my boomer take. The product could literally save lives, but if the marketing team is Yuga Labs-esque or caught rugging, it kills the product. That's fair. I mean, we'll see. I think it's like there's some announcement coming out today here, actually very shortly, that I think will be very exciting for bot. And very exciting for me, actually. Pretty crazy to see stuff. But we'll see. We'll see what all ends up happening. I think it'll give a lot of ease to everyone's worry. But I do, like, don't get me wrong, I understand. I understand what you're saying, C90. I do. I just don't think it's as, like, you'll see, basically. But I do. Let's watch the video. Let's watch this video. The 5-minute video from Boston Dynamics. Because basically, I'll let it play. I'll let it play, and then we'll listen. We'll review it together. Audio capture on, mic.
Development path, being able to build grippers that are rugged and reliable.
This is our 2nd generation gripper. It has 7 degrees of freedom. We have 7 different actuators within it, 2 for each of the 3 fingers, and then 1 for this articulated thumb joint. We have tactile sensing on the fingertips, and we have cameras here in the palm. The whole module is self-contained with all the actuation within it. And it's very easy to put on and off of the robot. And it was an iteration from our 1st generation gripper, which had a similar 3 fingers, but there was no thumbs. They're all in the same line.
Maybe the most important distinction from GR2 to GR1 is the addition of a thumb, an opposable thumb. That really expands the type of grasps that it allows us to do. It really increases the flexibility of which objects we can grasp with it. And really, over the last year or so, we've realized that we can grasp almost anything that we throw at it.
We landed on 3 because we believe that that's the fewest amount of fingers that can achieve very complex manipulation tasks. So the fact that you do have 3 fingers brings a lot more to the table over just 2, because the fact that there's some distance between them can help in maintaining a stable grasp, especially when you're manipulating larger or heavier objects that want to kind of rotate out of your hand. We do have the opportunity with this thumb to do some 2-finger pinch grasps, which can be very helpful for delicate manipulation of very tiny objects. But that 3rd finger coming into play when you are grasping something a little heavier or a little larger can be really helpful in maintaining a stable grasp. We've debated it a lot, and we do wonder if there's an opportunity to add more fingers and whether they bring much to the table.
We decided not to add more fingers because adding more fingers, it just adds more complexity that if it's not necessary, it always ends up meaning lower reliability, higher cost, just in general, lower speed of development. We shouldn't take that as a dogma though, right? 3 fingers was the right answer for the first phases of this program. We will see what is the answer moving forward.
Tactile sensing is force feedback. You can think of it as your sense of touch that you have in your own fingers. The tactile sensors live here on the fingertips in this elastomer here that's at the top that provides 2 functions. One is to give a high friction surface, and then also as it deforms, we have sensors within those fingertips that translate that into a force feedback. By having that sense of touch on your fingertips, you can apply very gentle forces to something. If you're perhaps manipulating a fragile object, you might want to handle it gingerly. You can also detect if you...
Do you guys get what they're saying so far and how absolutely insane that is as a feat, right? To be able to, for the robot to know the difference between picking up a phone, right, and knowing that this is something I can grip really hard, to picking up like a pen and knowing that I shouldn't probably grip this that hard, or a piece of paper, or the cup in that example. It's absolutely insane how much has gone into developing these robots. And the brains that Boston Dynamic has, those are staying at Boston Dynamic. Those aren't Like, that's not something that they're just going to put out and just be like, here you go. Here, everyone, come use the brain. Like, you have to come up with your own if you want to use it, or you have to buy theirs or rent it. And then they just harvest the data, collect all of it. But regardless, this is them training it right now. So this is how the training goes. It is somebody here with controllers in their hands, and they are operating the robot. And through that operation, they're training the robot, you know? So through that operation, they're standing there in a little VR world, looking at what the robot's looking at and playing the game and squeezing and showing the robot how much pressure to apply so that it can learn. That takes a long time IRL. That person's gonna have to sit there for 6 hours playing that little game, teaching it how to squeeze. Or you can do it in a virtual world. Now you need the initial data, right? You need that initial input, but it goes pretty crazy once you start speeding things up, right? Like Masterbot, we're running, where does it say? It says it right here. I don't think it says it there, but let's go here because it says it in one of these. A 100 times faster right there. So in the simulation, we're able to go 100 times faster than in real life, right? And this is, I know everyone that I say this to is like, their mind is being blown unless they know the space. 100 times faster is actually the baseline, like the bottom tier, the baseline, right? We can scale that so much further. You can, like, there are companies that are doing thousands of times, tens of thousands of times, but it costs money, obviously, right? It costs a lot of money to do that. But like, it goes crazy how quickly you can scale these things. So there's that. All right, back into the video.
If you've dropped something, so if you didn't mean to, but it's fallen out of your hand, those tactile sensors can give you that feedback to understand what's going on. The goal is to apply as little force as possible, but maintaining a stable grasp. That's very similar to when you pick something up. You don't want to crush the object, but you want to make sure that it stays in your hand and it doesn't slip out of your hand. Too light a grasp and something might slip away, and too heavy a grasp and you might actually damage it. So inward, we can rotate up to 90 degrees, very similar to what your hand can do. But this has some extra human capability in that all these fingers can bend backwards completely. We can do some very clever things where you would actually be grasping on the back side of the gripper. So we actually have a left and right version of this gripper, similar to how our own hands, we have a left and right hand that are mirrored, but not the same. So this thumb always comes around on this one side. Atlas will usually be planning for the most optimal route to get the job done that it's trying to do. So if standing in a certain position and reaching in with the left hand will provide a more stable grasp or allow you to avoid objects in the environment, that's usually the way that it will choose. It doesn't tend to have a dominant left or right hand like you and I do.
We're setting the next milestone in the direction of dexterity. It's becoming clear that tasks like bin picking or tool use or in general handling small objects are very prevalent in manufacturing. Interestingly, all of these things kind of are pushing us, not necessarily by design, but sort of naturally, organically, into more anthropomorphic designs of the gripper. Finding the gripper with the right sweet spot of dexterity, actuation, and sensing is one of the most interesting journeys of the next few years. And we're very excited to see where it takes us.
Crazy. I don't know why that has to pop up while I'm live with you guys. Motherfucker. Okay. Crazy opportunity, guys. Things are going actually insane, but I forget what the point was. That little pop-up threw me off again. Yeah. As we continue to scale it, we should be able to start doing more of these small dexterity tasks. We're starting with something that is exciting and something that is like we're able to get to market, and then we can scale from there and actually create that dent in the market and help satisfy some of the needs, like they're outlining right there, the need for dexterity, right? But it is very there's a hurdle that has to be overcome, because Boston Dynamic is not releasing their information, which is part of the reason why we went with Unitree, because China, on the other hand, is releasing their information. So you can take the schematics for these robots and start training them and start creating the brains and start working with them, right? Which in one respect is extremely smart, because then guess what? People are going to want to buy these models over the other models. We need that's funny, C90. That's funny. Okay. Now, what is this? Oh yeah. So there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions? Bot is running right now. Let's go. It looks like it did just break out, so hopefully that momentum keeps going for a little bit. It was getting a little bit like a little nerve-wracking. I ended up like on day one, I ended up unloading a clip like right at the top of this wick, and I was like, motherfucker. Because then it ended up bleeding for a little bit longer, but it's only like day 3 or day 2 or however long it's been into it. And so I think the opportunity is much, much bigger than 11 million. Yeah, much, much bigger. We'll see. We'll see. You guys know my stance right now. I am big fan of trading in this current environment. So how many of you guys, can I get a show of hands? How many of you, I know I didn't really give anyone super big warning before getting in the UiPath trade here, but how many of you guys got into that trade? Have any of you guys gotten into the Lemonade trade with me? I think it'll be a similar type breakout move. We'll go to the 4 hour. You can see it a little bit easier. I think we see a bit of a breakout here in the remaining parts of the month on Lemonade. And hopefully get a quick move up to like 80 bucks, give or take. And I think we'll get those before the end of the year, but potentially here this month. Bought some on the Roth. Let's go, Landon. Let's go. My Roth also contains a large chunk of Path here, so I bet it's doing really well. Path and AMD make up a huge section of my Roth IRA. And so like, yeah, we're doing good on that. My Roth right now has a lot of AMD, a lot of Path, and a lot of Celsius energy drink, because I love energy drinks. Celsius, when they acquired Alani, I was like, yo, this is gonna send. Like, the Celsius in and of itself is a great company. Now that they acquired their only real competitor, because they're kind of like the healthier energy drinks as compared to Red Bull or Monster or stuff like that. So they're a little bit healthier. That market, I think, gets dominated now by Celsius, and they're growing crazy. Bought 100 shares of D-Wave. Let's go. That looks pretty good. Bullish. I know. Path has been blowing my expectations out of the water. I did not think it would break out that quickly. I thought I'd have a little bit of time as it like got up. I was expecting it to get rejected around $15, come back down, build a new support, and then keep going. But it did not. It just continues to go straight up. It's literally about to hit $18 today, which is crazy. And then we'll take profits from those trades and purchase boring old companies like Target, because Target, I don't think, deserves to be down as much as it is. I personally don't believe that Target should be down 66%, but that's just me. I also think, where is Adobe? Adobe. I also think it's stupid that the market is pricing Adobe like this. Down 50% over 1,000 days, guys. 50% over 1,000 days on Adobe. Adobe is one of the most perfect like business models that you can see. The growth is insane. The stability is out of this world. And so for 3 years, 4 years almost, we've seen Adobe just go down and a little bit of a spike and then down again. I think that changes pretty quickly. And so Adobe is one that I'm eyeing. I think at these prices, it's an easy buy for the long-term portfolio, but for trading wise, I want to see it break out. And then I'll probably try and scoop something around here, maybe closer to here. I know it sounds kind of silly to say, but Adobe at 347 is riskier than Adobe at 400. And not too many of you guys will understand that. Silver. Goddamn, I forgot about silver, MK. I got the notifications this morning because silver went parabolic. Tapped 50 and came back down. You guys know I have my stack of silver coins here. There are 21 ounce pieces here. So this is now worth $1,000 raw, but there's a premium on stuff like that. And so it's more than $1,000 worth of silver now, but that's crazy. I got my long-term investments and my gambles, always to remind me which one am I making when I put my money into something. Am I making a long-term investment or am I making a gamble in this moment? Keeping them both on my desk to remind me. C90, why on earth are you bearish on Adobe long-term? Adobe is one of the only people right now in the public market that are openly making LLMs that are compliant with copyright for photo generation. If you're a large corporate company, you want to not have to worry about all the legal stuff that AI is about to go through. All AI companies, you go look at what just happened with Sora when people were making like episodes of SpongeBob and getting celebrities to say whatever they wanted and do whatever they wanted. That's a legal nightmare. Adobe is working right now on a solution. I think it's going to be crazy boost to their company. Plus just their, like, have you ever tried to cancel an Adobe subscription? I think they're literally in a lawsuit right now because it is too difficult to cancel their Adobe subscription. I have 5 pounds of scrap from making jewelry. That is crazy work. That is crazy work. Would you say you purchased 100 shares of D-Wave qubits? How long ago did you do that? I'm gonna give you some alpha here. Okay? Here's what you're gonna do. You have 100 shares of D-Wave, Landon. So that tells me that you think that they're going to continue to grow, right? Hopefully you're in profit on them and you didn't just purchase them at these highs here. Hopefully you purchased them back at like 18 bucks or something. But here's what you're gonna do. D-Wave options chain. You're gonna come here. Let me show you theta decay images. You are going to decide a price that you would be okay with selling your D-Wave at. Bro, I bought under $14. Let's go, dude. Let's go. You're going to decide a price that you're willing to sell your D-Wave at, okay? Let's just say theoretically, you're okay at selling them at the price that it is right now, right? It'd be from $14 up to here, 150, 140% gains. That's a crazy good trade, right? Now, obviously, if you're nervous and just want to get out, just get out right now. But if you still think it's got room to run, this is something that you could do, right? Let's say you're okay with selling the shares where they're at right now, 35 bucks. You're going to come and you're going to go to a call option. This is called selling a covered call. We're going to go to calls on D-Wave. We're going to pick the expiration date that is not in October, but, well, I would like That's unfortunate. We're going to pick the expiration date that it is in December. Okay. I wish they had a November one. Oh, there it is, November. We're going to pick an expiration date in November. And November 7th or November 14th is when we're going to look. The reason being is because in the options world, you have something called theta, which is time decay. It's T for time, T for theta. It is the price of the option, or the premium that you pay on the option. It exponentially decays on the way to 0 DTE, or 0 days till expiry. And so you can see in the last 30 days, you get a very quick move down, right? What you're gonna do is short a call option on D-Wave using your 100 shares as collateral, right? And so you can come here and see on November 7th, if you were to agree to sell a $35 call, which is you agreeing to sell 100 shares of D-Wave to someone at $35, if D-Wave is above $35 on or before November 7th. Okay, I know there's a lot of words, you can replay that if you want to, but $35, you're basically agreeing to sell your 100 shares at $35 to someone, and they will pay you $5.30 per share. So $530. Someone will pay you $530 to agree to sell your shares at $35. Now, there's two options. One, D-Wave is above $35 come November 7th, in which case you sell your shares at $35, even if it's at $60, right? But you get paid $500 to sell them at $35. Or two, D-Wave is in the middle of a pullback, or D-Wave has peaked and it's done going up, whatever you think is going to happen. D-Wave is in the middle of a pullback and it's under $35. If it's under $35, you keep that $500 you collected and your 100 shares. That's it. Those are the two options. Does that make sense? Got questions on that? Basically, no matter what, you keep your $500 that they paid you, the $530. No matter what, you keep that. If D-Wave is above $35, you sell your 100 shares at $35 and you lock in the gains on that trade from $14. You lock in that 150% gain. Or D-Wave is below and you don't sell your shares and you just keep that $500. How do you lose money? You lose money. There's two ways you lose money on that trade. The first one is if D-Wave goes up to $60 and you have to sell it at $35, right? You didn't actually lose money. You locked in a gain, but psychologically you're like, damn it, if I had just held, I would have made more money, right? So you don't actually lose money on that. You just didn't make as much as you could have made if you had just held the shares. Or you lose money if D-Wave goes below $35 and never goes back above, right? If this is the peak and instead of taking profits and just selling your shares, you sell the call and it never goes back above $35, then you lose money because the shares go back down, right? But in that case, you just collected $500 for doing nothing, and that's yours no matter what. So then you can do whatever you want with the shares, but you collect $500. That makes sense? It's opportunity cost. When you do stuff like this, you're not actually losing money. It's just opportunity cost. Let's take Path, for example. Path is one that I just did this on. It's much smaller, but I sold a call at I sold a put at $13 here. And on Friday, it expired in the money, which meant that I had to buy 100 shares of Path at $13, right? And that was right here, okay? And I collected, somebody paid me $40 per 100 shares to do that. So I just collected $40 and it was nice, right? And then I got to buy into something that I wanted to hold anyways. And then UiPath went on a crazy rally here and it's now up at $18. However, yesterday, stupid me, I sold a $15.50 call and I collected another, I think I collected $30 on it. So I got paid $30 to agree to sell my shares at $15.50. And so I made money from $13 to $15.50, which is a 20% gain. And I collected a premium to buy and I'm collecting a premium to sell. The problem is that if I hadn't sold that call, I'd be up another 16%. But it was a successful trade no matter what. And I still, like I said, I still have path in my long term and everything. But hopefully that makes sense to you guys. The opportunity cost and the potential gains that you miss out on if it just does that and goes crazy. But I'm getting blown up right now. So I probably need to step off and go answer these questions. But I want to prioritize you guys. So one, hopefully the option strategy makes sense. We can talk about it more in the Discord if you guys want to. And then two, do you guys have any more questions for me? Anything you want to look at or view in the current market? Dun-dun-dun. U.S. pedestrian deaths. Why is it going back up? And you can do that strategy on anything that is something that you would want to invest in, right? If you think it's a good long-term investment, you can do that strategy on it in the stock market. So you go look at something like BMNR. If you think BMNR, which is that the micro strategy for Ethereum, if you think Ethereum is about to break out, then you think BMNR is going to break out. If you think BMNR is going to break out, you can agree to buy 100 shares at the current price and get paid to buy. It is a crazy, crazy world. Chinese stocks. I mean, yeah, you go look at Baba. Baba's going nuts, right? They're getting a little bit of a pullback here, but Alibaba is finally turning around. It's the same little like cup here that so many companies have gone through. They collapsed and then have rebounded and are coming back up. It's a very nice trade pattern. You go look at Palantir did it, and they had a crazy rally after. You go look at SoFi did it. Reddit did it, right? Not as, yeah, no, Reddit did it. Roblox did it. You go look at all of them. I think right now what we're seeing is Path doing it, just a little bit of a different style. And then what was I going to show? Oh, I was going to look up SoFi. SoFi did it. SoFi's still, I think, in the middle of doing it, but they did it. It's crazy. Lemonade, that's why I have call options on Lemonade right now. I think they're doing it. And I like the company for the long term, and I think that it's going to have another leg up here shortly. So, all right, guys. Actually, this was what I was going to do. JD. If you like Chinese stocks, you'll love JD. Go research them. Go do some large-scale research on JD. I think you'll really like it. It's a very strong company, and I think they're going to start growing pretty quickly. For bot, I should be using Meteora instead of Radium, right? Yeah. Unless you can also, like, I would use Meteora. We had some problems with Phantom for some reason, but I think they got it sorted out this morning. I couldn't see my tokens, and I was like, did I just buy the top and then the tokens are gone? But that's not what happened. They were just having some sort of a problem because there were a bunch of spam tokens. So somebody went and just reported all of them as spam, which obviously it's not. I bought some Lemonade. Love the dip today. Good, Derico. Good. It's a crazy good dip. I think Lemonade's going to be a huge winner for us. And huge in the terms of the stock market. But I think by the end of Q1, I think Lemonade's above $80. And I know it's a short-term call, but it's a short-term call. I have a call option on a short-term call. I think it might take another week or two before it breaks out, but I think it does. All right, guys. I bought on Phantom. Let's go, David. Let's go. Your time's your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing into. I have to go take care of things with bot. My phone has been blowing up. And then back into deving. I will see you guys tomorrow's live stream. Peace. What stocks is Patrick's mom buying? Nothing.